In 1931, a vessel of unimaginable luxury, a titan of the seas, vanished into the chilling embrace of the Arctic. No distress calls, no wreckage, no trace of its 23 souls. But nearly a century later, whispers began to emerge from the frozen north, tales of a phantom ship, adrift in the ice, its decks an untouched tomb. What if this wasn't just a legend, but a terrifying reality? A ghost ship sailing silently through time, guarding a secret too chilling for the living. To truly grasp the horrifying implications of the Aurora Borealis's fate, we must first journey back to the opulent world of the early 20th century, a time when Arctic exploration was less about scientific endeavor and more about showcasing human ingenuity and wealth. The Aurora Borealis wasn't just any ship. She was the pinnacle of maritime engineering, a marvel designed for the ultra-rich. Commissioned by the eccentric and reclusive industrialist Alistair Finch, the vessel was intended to be the ultimate luxury expedition yacht. Her teak decks, mahogany interiors, and state-of-the-art navigation equipment were unparalleled. Finch spared no expense, installing a special gangway, gained strength, hull for ice navigation, an experimental heating system, and even a small dedicated library filled with first editions. The crew, handpicked for their experience in polar waters, numbered 15, supplemented by 8 privileged passengers, a mix of European nobility, renowned explorers, and, of course, Finch himself. Their ambitious itinerary promised a 2-month journey to the uncharted waters north of Svalbard, a quest for a natural phenomenon Finch obsessively pursued, a permanent aurora he believed lay hidden deeper in the Arctic Circle. This wasn't merely a pleasure cruise, it was an audacious statement, a testament to human dominion over nature. But as the Aurora Borealis slipped silently from its Norwegian port on a crisp August morning, no one could have predicted that it was embarking on a voyage not just into the unknown, but into an enigma that would baffle generations. The initial days of the expedition were meticulously documented in logs and telegrams, detailing smooth sailing, breathtaking vistas, and the usual minor mechanical quirks. Then silence. The last communication received from the Aurora Borealis was a brief, almost prosaic message on September 12th, reporting clear skies and light ice conditions, approximately 300 nautical miles north of Svalbard. And then, nothing. The scheduled check-in on September 15th never came. Panic, initially a slow burn, quickly escalated to a roar. Search parties were dispatched, naval vessels scoured thousands of square miles of frigid ocean, and pioneering aviators risked their lives flying reconnaissance missions over the endless white expanse. But the Arctic, in its cruel indifference, offered no answers. The Aurora Borealis had not just disappeared, it had been swallowed whole. No SOS, no flares, no lifeboats, no debris, nothing. It was as if the ship, its crew, and its elite passengers had simply ceased to exist, plucked from the face of the earth by an unseen hand. The official verdict was grim: lost at sea, presumed sunk. Public fascination, fueled by sensational newspaper headlines and whispered theories, grew into a cultural phenomenon. Was it a rogue iceberg, a sudden cataclysmic storm, a mutiny, or something far more sinister, something beyond human comprehension? Over the decades, the story of the Aurora Borealis faded into the annals of unsolved mysteries, occasionally resurfacing in maritime folklore, a chilling cautionary tale told to wide-eyed sailors. But then in 2008, something happened that breathed new, terrifying life into the legend. A small scientific research vessel, the icebreaker the Wien, conducting routine subsurface mapping near a previously unnavigable ice shelf, detected an anomalous echo. It wasn't natural, it was too regular, too symmetrical. What they found, perfectly encased in a colossal ancient iceberg, defied all logic and expectation. Frozen solid, its mass reaching like skeletal fingers towards the gray sky, was a ship. Its elegant lines, its distinctive funnel, even the faint inscription on its bow, confirmed the unbelievable. It was the Aurora Borealis, nearly 80 years after its disappearance, seemingly untouched by time. The discovery sent shockwaves through the scientific and maritime communities. How could it have remained hidden for so long? And more pressingly, what secrets did its perfectly preserved interior hold? The world watched with bated breath as an international salvage operation was mounted, a delicate dance against the unforgiving elements to extract the ghost ship from its icy tomb. The true horror, however, only began to unfold when they finally breached its hull. What they discovered next changed everything. The interior of the Aurora Borealis was perfectly preserved, a frozen tableau of a forgotten moment in time. The air, though frigid, remarkably held the faint scent of old wood and salt. Teacups sat on tables in the main salon, half filled with what looked like perfectly preserved, albeit frozen tea. Cards were still laid out on a game table, mid-deal. A chess game remained unfinished. Books were open on reading desks, their pages stiff with frost. It was as if the ship's occupants had simply paused. And then came the crew and the passengers. They were found slumped in their chairs, leaning against bulkheads, or nestled in their bunks, all perfectly frozen, their faces etched with a peculiar serenity, devoid of any signs of struggle or panic. Captain Edvard Larsen was at the helm, his hands still gripping the wheel, his eyes wide open, staring straight ahead at a non-existent horizon. The cook was in the galley, a half-peeled potato on the counter beside him. Alistair Finch was in his private study, a pen in his hand poised over an open logbook, his spectacles perched on his nose, one eyebrow slightly raised as if in mild contemplation. There was no sign of violence, no broken instruments, no flooding. The ship's heating system, though inactive, showed no catastrophic failure. Food in the pantry was frozen but intact. The most chilling detail was discovered on the bridge. A pocket watch belonging to the first mate had stopped precisely at 2:17 p.m. But not 2:17 p.m. on September 12th, the last known communication. It was 2:17 p.m. October 3rd. That meant the ship had continued to operate, with its crew seemingly alive for nearly 3 weeks after it was officially pronounced missing. What had happened during those 21 days? The logbook Finch was holding was the key. Its final entry, dated October 2nd, the day before the watch stopped, painted a horrifying picture. Finch detailed gradual, inexplicable drops in temperature, despite the heating system reportedly functioning. He wrote of the crew feeling increasingly sluggish, their movements slowing, their thoughts becoming muddled. He described a strange, shimmering aura that seemed to emanate from the ship's experimental heating coils, a low hum that grew steadily louder, a sound no one else on board could apparently hear. His last words, scrawled shakily, indicated a profound sense of peace mixed with a chilling resignation. The Aurora is singing to us now, a lullaby of endless winter. We feel no cold, only rest. The permanent Aurora, it is here. The medical examination of the crew, conducted from microscopic ice core samples, revealed an unprecedented phenomenon. Their bodies contained no ice crystals within the cells, as would be typical with freezing. Instead, their cellular structure was preserved in a state of suspended animation, as if time itself had simply stopped for them. It wasn't death by freezing, it was stasis induced by an unknown force. The experimental heating system, rather than fighting the cold, had in its final catastrophic moments achieved something far more profound and terrifying. It had perfectly, instantaneously frozen every living thing on board, locking them into an eternal, perfectly lucid half-life. To this day, the true nature of the Aurora Borealis's permanent aurora and its connection to the ship's experimental heating system remains a chilling subject of intense scientific debate. Was it a previously unknown natural energy phenomenon amplified by Finch's apparatus? A freak accident that stumbled upon a way to manipulate the fabric of space-time, freezing life at a quantum level? Or was it something far more alien, something evoked from the deepest, most primordial corners of the Arctic? The Aurora Borealis now rests in a purpose-built facility, a silent, frozen monument to one of the greatest maritime mysteries, its crew forever poised in that final serene moment. We peer through the glass, gazing at Captain Larson, still at the wheel, Finch still with his pen, their faces holding an unspoken story, a secret locked within their perfectly preserved, unblinking eyes. And as the Arctic whispers its ancient secrets, one cannot help but wonder, are they truly dead or simply waiting, trapped in an eternal, ice-cold dream for a technology that might one day wake them from their inexplicable slumber? The ghost ship of the Arctic sails on, not across the waves, but through the endless expanse of our imagination, a permanent enigma in a world that craves answers. If you want more spine-tingling tales of maritime mysteries that defy explanation, the next video dives into the baffling case of the Mary Celeste, a ship found adrift with not a soul on board.